Folks, if you remember this, the 2014 tournament was one to remember. After the first weekend, you would have been hard-pressed to find a bracket that wasn't busted. Mine included, not Bayless's, though. This year's tournament could be historic. Can Kentucky continue its pursuit of perfection? Kentucky, Duke, Villanova, Wisconsin, Arizona, the top teams to watch in the tournament, anchored by the top players. It's a classic case of survive and advance for 48 hours straight. 2 days, 64 teams, 32 games, 25 hours of basketball, 8 sites, 4 networks. I'm tired just saying it, Skip. It sounds like it's the best 2 days in sports, or so it's been labeled. Do you agree, sir?
Stephen A. Smith, forgive me if I come across right now as the Grinch who stole March Madness, but I'm going to speak my heart. This is just my heart on this subject that is an annual pet peeve of mine. As a hardcore sports fan, and you know I am hardcore, I must admit to you, I am annually stunned by this runaway media-fueled belief that these are the 2 greatest days in sports. Because if you want me to be completely honest about it, I think these 2 days are completely overrated, because it is highly unlikely anything that happens in these first 2 days of this great tournament, and I do love and watch a lot of college basketball, but it's highly unlikely anything will happen in these 2 days that will impact the outcome of this tournament. So I'm a little lost here, because as a basketball lover, and you know I do love me some basketball, all I really care about are the 1 seeds and the 2 seeds. And Stephen A., as you well know, a 1 seed has never, ever lost to a 16. And only 7 2 seeds since 1985 have lost to a 15 seed. So that means 7 out of 120 games were lost by the 2 seed. That's 5.8%. How can I get excited about, going back to the 1 seeds, Kentucky is a 34.5-point favorite tonight over Hampton. Villanova is a 23-point favorite over Lafayette. Am I into that? No. Duke is 22 over Robert Morris. Wisconsin, look out. Look out, Wisconsin. You're only a 19.5-point favorite over Coastal Carolina.
Okay.
I'm there. I'm on the edge of my seat. Even a 2-seed Arizona is a 24-point favorite over Texas Southern. Now, I get it. If your school is in this, or a relative of a relative of a relative who went to Vanderbilt, well, they're not in it, whatever. Your school is in this, and you want to be true to your school, I get that. But look, I only watch these games, as you know, Stephen A., to see who can play pro basketball. So am I into the Texas game today? Because Texas is an 11 seed against 6 seed Butler? Yeah, I'm into that game because I know that Texas has a kid named Miles Turner who could be a lottery pick. And they have a kid named Isaiah Taylor.
He won't be.
He might be, depending on how he does starting today against Butler. Well, look at Chad Ford's big board. You saying Chad Ford's wrong? I'm going by Chad Ford here. But he's saying that Isaiah Taylor, if he has a good tournament, he could rise into the first round. And 2 other Texas kids are second-round picks. That's loaded with NBA talent. Why did they lose 6 of their last 9? I'm on the edge of my seat for that game. But let's be completely real. Most people, they're treating this like the ultimate bettor's holiday. And again, if you don't think you're not betting, are you in an office pool?
No, I'm not.
You're not? Well, most people, if you're in an office pool, because most people are, any kind of pool with your friends.
I have a side bet with our social media producer.
Okay, well, you bet.
Yeah,
so you did bet.
Yeah.
And most people bet their office pride on this. So it's a bettor's holiday because your pride or a few bucks at the office are at stake on all these games. So suddenly you have a rooting interest on games that you wouldn't care about remotely if not for your pool. You probably rarely watch these teams play college basketball. A lot of these teams you've never watched. So don't bring me the two greatest days in sports because there'll be one or two buzzer beaters. I mean, really, the run up to the Super Bowl, you don't think that's the greatest time of the year in sports? I mean, even for me as a golf fan, the 4 days of the Masters are way up at the top of my list. I can go on the NBA Finals, if it gets to game 6 or 7, that is special to me. Even if my Spurs lose in game 6. It's special. I'm sorry. So don't bring this to me because it's overrated the first 2 days.
You are really a Grinch. You really, really are.
I'm shocked you said
that.
Look,
man, look. I get where you're coming from because you're looking at the quality of competition or lack thereof. And I respect that. But what I'm trying to say is that we are talking about kids here. We're talking about kids who really get seen.
Yeah.
There have been, Stevie A loves the kids, he sure does. Let me tell you something. You got 15 seeds. It's rare, but they've been knocked off by two. I mean, 2 seeds have been knocked off by 15 seeds. You've got 3 seeds that have been knocked off by 14 seeds. You don't get me started with 12 and 5. You look at teams throughout NCAA tournament history. It's the one time of the year, Skip, we almost religiously witness, Cinderella stories coming to fruition. The things that you don't expect at all. The Syracuses of the world getting knocked off early. Major programs getting knocked off. All I'm saying is when you see this kind of stuff, particularly when it's no-namers, and then, the last-second shots, you see guys crying on the floor. You see how much it means to individuals to be in this rare situation, only to watch it fall apart in front of their very eyes. That kind of stuff is incredibly magnetic, and that's all I'm talking about here. I'm not going to debate the merits of your argument because they can't be debated. You're absolutely right for the most part in terms of the actual competition. It's not the Super Bowl. It's not Game 7 of an NBA Finals or a World Series. It's nothing like that. It's not even a national championship game in college football or anything like that.
Or college basketball. The national championship
that's
game.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Or the Final Four, or the Final Four for that matter. But we're talking about those first 2 days of the NCAA tournament where folks that you've never heard of and you'll probably never hear of again have their moment in the spotlight. And it's special to see when they capitalize off of that. It's a special thing to witness. And I'm saying in that regard, that's all people mean by it. They know that there's better competition to watch.
Okay. Just for the record, I will be watching. I'll watch all day. You know how I am. I'm just addicted anyway.
Okay.
And I get where you're coming from. You do love your kids. I get all that. So do I. And when there's a buzzer beater hit in the, the Xavier Ole Miss game, I don't know.
That'll be exciting.
Ole Miss got victimized by Bryce Drew once upon a time. I remember that in Oklahoma City. See, that's how far back I go. And by the way, Stephen A., I go way back covering Final Fours. My first Final Four was Bird Magic, which put the NCAA tournament really on the national map, certainly the Final Four. But my point is, I always step back, and I say, sometimes this is exciting for all the wrong reasons. Because you throw these kids together, school versus school, they don't know each other, strange referees, strange tip-off times, because some of these tip-off times are just crazy. Yeah. It might be at noon, it might be at 10 o'clock at night. In some strange arena you've never played in, strange shooting background, maybe you get a couple of bad calls, only 5 fouls in college basketball so you can get in foul trouble quickly, and you're right. Cinderella can emerge from that pretty quickly, and the buzzer beaters are great to watch. But the quality of basketball is not great. You just accept the fact that it's just sort of a level playing floor in this case, where they're all kind of mediocre. That's what I just accept it for what it is.
I just think the moments can't be replaced. And when you see guys that have never received any kind of spotlight, that are huge underdogs, and it's David knocking off Goliath. I think that's what the NCAA tournament is all about, and I think the first 2 days of the NCAA tournament epitomizes that, and I think it's a beautiful thing to see.
Except the true Goliaths never get knocked off. The 1 seeds never get knocked off. If you told me today, if you told me, and maybe it'll happen because we're talking about it, maybe Hampton, who finished the regular season 16-17 and won 4 straight games to win the automatic bid from their conference tournament to get into the dance. Okay, if they knock off Kentucky tonight, I think it's late tonight, like at 9:40 Eastern time. If they knock off Kentucky as a 34.5-point underdog, I'll give you that. We will lead the show with that tomorrow. I promise. Well, I will do this. I will do this to the NCAA.
But here's the greatest day of
But here's what you're missing. Here's what you're missing: the brackets. Because when you take into account the brackets, then it's not just about Kentucky for a lot of Americans. You're literally filling out the brackets game by game, bracket by bracket, team by team. And so you're invested, at least emotionally and sometimes monetarily, in each pick. It's not just about Kentucky. It's about Kentucky for you and I, because we're talking about the best and who's going to knock them off. But for people filling out those office pools, filling out their brackets, they're watching and monitoring all the games.
Sure.
So you're seeing the 64 field dwindle, and you're invested in all of that too, which makes it that much more interesting.
Okay, which is why I always feel like the interest in this tournament is like the inverted pyramid, where it starts huge on the first couple of days because everybody's okay in their bracket, and then all of a sudden you start making X's in your bracket, miss, and it starts to go like this because people who are casual or non-basketball fans just drop out. They're like, I'm done.
But then when it goes like this, but then when it goes like this, the rest of it is reserved for us who follow this stuff.
That's correct.
And want to see the best against the best.
Okay.
But initially, it's everybody, which is what contributes to making it the best 2 days.
Okay.
Because everybody's involved initially.
Okay, hypothetically, I know that this is a difficult concept to grasp, but let's say there was no such thing as a pool. There's no such thing as bracket racket in your office where everybody's going crazy. What if nobody had a pool? Just hypothetically, how much interest would there be in this tournament? Especially these 2 days. It wouldn't be the same because most people now would be saying, if you didn't care about all these games because of your office pool, you'd just be saying, wake me up. Wake me up when we get to the Elite Eight or the Final Four or whatever.
Okay, so tonight, Kentucky-Hampton, 9:40 Eastern.
I was watching. I'll watch for like 5 minutes because I think it'll be over in 5 minutes.
Oh, really? Okay. What about
I think so.
What about 3:10 Eastern? UCLA, SMU.
You know what? That's an interesting game.
Tell me why.
Kerry Champion.
Hold on, let him finish before you tell me your boy Larry Brown gonna beat my Bruins. I got it. Why?
That's right. I'm glad you know.
I already know what you want to say. So tell me why you think it's gonna be an interesting game.
I'm gonna save my pick on that game for our next topic.
I just like to say, I just one stat.
Okay.
And I'm gonna carry this with me till tomorrow morning. UCLA leads the all-time series 2-0, okay, against SMU. Last time they played each other.
I don't think that will matter this
1976.
1976? Wow.
All right.
Okay.
Clearly, I'm reaching. Coming up a little later on, we will debate Stephen A's guy, Larry Brown's claim that this year's Kentucky team could make the playoffs in the NBA Eastern Conference. Can you believe
that?
He did say that. What do you all at home think? We need you to reply using that hashtag Cats versus NBA East on Twitter.